Hi there, welcome to my YouTube channel English Online Teacher. Today we will take a look on second part of the chapter from the last lesson along with line by line explanation of the chapter from the class 12th English. If you are watching my video for the first time, don't forget to press the bell icon so that you get notified whenever new video will be uploaded. So let's take a quick look on the second part of the lesson now. So, in the initial part of the lesson, we have experienced that how Franz observed that his teacher M. Hamel was dressing up, means wearing a special dress, and so he was think of why he was dressing up like this. So let's move on to the remaining part of the lesson. Besides, the whole school seemed to strange and solemn, but the thing that surprised me most was to see on the back benches that were always empty the village people sitting quietly like ourselves. So now the author is saying that when Franz entered the school campus itself, he found that it was so unfamiliar or strange and solemn. Solemn means awe inspiring or serious. But the thing that took him back or make surprise him to see on the backbenchers that were always unoccupied, people of the village, people were sitting there silently like us. So, what surprise, little Franz? What is the back of the class? Especially backbenchers where students sit. The village people were occupying their places and sitting very quietly, just like how the student take a seat. Old Hauser, with his three-corner hat, the former mayor, the former postmaster, and several others besides. So now there was an old Hauser, which means an old farmer, wearing three-corner hat, and a former mayor. What do you mean by former mayor? That means a head of the town who took a position earlier, and the former postmaster and several others. So the villagers who were sitting at the last row of the class. So everybody looked sad. The houser had bought an old primer thumbed at the edges. An old farmer. He had bought an old primer. Primer means a small book for teaching children to read, and it was thumbed at the edges, which means worn or soiled edges caused by the frequent using or frequent handling. And he held it open on his knees with his great spectacles lying across the pages. So now he kept that book on his knee, and he had worn his spectacles as he seems to be reading something. While I was wondering about it all, M. Hamel mounted his chair and, in the same grave and gentle tone which he had used to me, said, "My children, this is the last lesson I shall give you." So here the little Franz saying that he was sitting pondering. Pondering means thinking that M. Hamel got up from his chair and then in the same grave and gentle tone. That means causing serious thoughts or serious tone and started telling that, "My dear children, this is my last lesson which I am going to teach you today." He said that the children, this is the last lesson that he is going to teach. The order has come from Berlin to teach only German in the schools of Alsace and Lorraine. As we know that in the war, the French were defeated by the Prussian, and now the German had overruled, and there was an order from Berlin mentioning that from tomorrow onwards only German should be taught in the school of Lorraine and Alsace. The new master comes tomorrow. This is your last French lesson. Thereafter, Hamel also said that this is the last French lesson, and the new educator is going to teach you German and will be arriving from tomorrow onwards. I want you to be very attentive. So he said that I wanted you to all be very attentive for the last French lesson. So, what a thunderclap these words were to me. What does thunderclap means, or what does thunderclap symbolize? Thunderclap means that is something startling and unexpected or something shocking. So he did not accept or he did not expect such a news, such a bad news. So what was the news that? It was shocking for little Franz that only German will be taught from the next day onwards and no more French is going to be taught, which means French language will be disappeared from the learnings. Oh, the riches! That was what they had put up at the town hall. Oh, riches! Riches means unpleasant or unfortunate people or unfortunate news. So now he came to know why people are standing in front of the bulletin board and he got to know that why people were standing there. My French lesson. So he also felt a very downcast or dejected because it was going to be his last French lesson. Why I hardly knew how to write. So now he doesn't know how to read and write French accurately. I should never learn anymore. He was feeling awful that he is not going to learn French anymore. I must stop there then. Oh, how sorry I was for not learning my lessons, for seeking birds' eggs or going sliding on the Saar. As he says, as he was feeling very sad, depressed, because he did not use the fruitful tenure to learn French accurately, and he was also feeling sorry because he was killing his valuable time. So, what he did throughout the good times, he used to go to seeking birds' eggs, which means he had wasted his time in a different activities, or he used to go sliding on the river Sar, which means he used to go river and play around instead of attending French lessons. My books that had seemed such a nuisance a while ago, so heavy to carry, my grammar and my history of the sense were old friends now that I couldn't give up. Throughout all these days, he felt that his book were a nuisance. Nuisance means burden or pain in the neck, and that's why he did not like to take along with his books at all. And the grammar exercise book, his history book, for him now they seems like to be stranger, and he did not want to give them away at the end because he was really trying to pay attention on his own native language, and that was the French language. And M. Hamel too. The idea that was going away, that I should never see him again, made me forget all about his ruler and how cranky he was. So now he got to know that it was the last day and he has a great emotions towards his teacher. And M. Hamel also started changing. He also forgot his ruler, which with he used to scold the children, and he also wanted to forget how cranky, how badly he behaved. Poor man, it was the honor of this last lesson that he had put on his fine Sunday clothes. So now he was feeling sorry for for his teacher M. Hamel, and he realized that why his teacher dressed in a special manner. And now I understood why the old men of the village were sitting there in the back of the room. The little Franz understand that why the villagers had come to the classroom and had occupied the last benches. It was because they were sorry too that they had not gone to school more. So they were also feeling bad that no more French is going to be taught, and they had also not used the opportunity to go to the school and learn their own mother tongue. So it was their way of thanking our master for his 40 years of faithful service and of showing their respect for the country that was there no more. So now he understood that why the villagers were sitting back of the class. He understood that they were sitting there to show their respect to the teacher, to show the respect to their language, and also show the respect to their own country which they are living in. The people sitting there to thank their master, and this master, M. Hamel, had been serving there for about 40 years. So he had been a faithful teacher, teaching French to the people of the Alsace. So while I was thinking all of this, I heard my name called. Now, friends, saying that it was my turn to recite, as he remembered that his teacher had asked him to learn the participles very attentively and come. What would I not have given to be able to say that dreadful ruler, dreadful rule for the participles all through very loud and clear and without one mistake. So that means he truly wanted to put in his all efforts to quote the participles very clearly and very loudly and without making a single mistake. But I got mixed up on the first words and stood there holding on to my desk, my heart beating and not daring to look up. But the little Franz got mixed up, which means he got confused because there were already a lot of thoughts running in his mind, and he want not be able to recite the participles appropriately. So he stood there holding to his desk and his heart beating and not daring to look up because he was frightened that the teacher would scold him. So he did not have the courage to look up at his master. I heard M. Hamel say to me, I won't scold you, little Franz. You must feel bad enough. See how it is. So, in continuation of the chapter, when he was feeling anxious and frightened, his teacher said to him that I am not going to scold you anymore because you should feel bad enough because you are not able to repeat the lesson properly. Every day we have said to ourselves, Bah, I have plenty of time, I'll learn it tomorrow. So he's telling the general act of attitude of people there, what they say. Everybody tries to postpone their work. They will say, no issues. We have enough time to learn. So let me learn it tomorrow. And now you see where we have come out. Ah, that's the great trouble with Alsace. She puts off learning till tomorrow. As he's trying making aware to all to see this is the problem with all of us, especially people in Alsace. We all procrastinate learning till tomorrow, and still we don't make the best use of the opportunity that is right now in our hands. Now, these fellows out there will have the right to say to you, how is it you pretend to be Frenchmen and yet you can neither speak nor write your own language? Now the MML suggesting everybody who were sitting there and seeing those fellows who are out there, they are going to ask you questions like you pretend to be French man, but then you can neither write nor speak your own language. That means they are going to make a fun of you because you don't know how to speak or write your own language or mother tongue. But you are not the worst. Oh, little friends, we have all a great deal to reproach ourselves with. Your parents were not anxious enough to have you learn. So Hamel is telling everybody, including Franz also, it is not only for you. You are not the only worst person here. We all have to feel very sad and disappointed with ourselves. Why your parents were not anxious enough to have you learn. So he wants to blame parents. And he's telling that your parents did not want you to learn. They prefer to put you to work on a farm or at the mills as so as to have a little more money. And I have been to blame also. Have I not often sent to you water my flowers instead of learning your lessons? So as he telling that parents always wanted to earn more money and instead of sending them to the school. They put you to work on a field or they might have sent you to the factory and he's not questioning to the parents alone here as he's blaming himself as well. So he said that have I not often sent you to water my flower instead of learning your lessons? And when I wanted to go fishing, did I not just give you a holiday? So now again he is blaming on himself that he was again trying to accuse himself as well by telling that whenever he wanted to go for fishing earlier, he would declare a holiday for the children instead of teaching them French lesson. Then, from one thing to another, M. Hamel went on to talk to the French language, saying that it was the most beautiful language in the world, the clearest, the most logical, that we must guard it among us and never forget it. And then he started telling something about the French language. He said that it is the most logical and beautiful language in the world. He said that we must protect it and never forget it because it is our mother tongue. And he was telling that these people who were present in the classroom, because when people are enslaved, as long as they hold fast to their language, it is as if they had the key to their prison. So as he said that if you value your mother tongue and effect in your enslaved, that means cost loss, their freedom or choice or action. He says that your own language can help you to get out from your difficulty or get out from the difficulty or bad times. So knowing your own language is like a key to get out from the prison. And learning a mother tongue is very important for everyone and every citizen of the country as well.